What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly update. So there's lots of exciting stories to go over here this week. Before I get into the first one though, I briefly want to mention that next week there will not be a weekly update. That is because I'm going to be traveling and away and won't be able to film a weekly update. I will still be retweeting automotive news stories and stuff. So again, if you want to stay on top of all the automotive news, definitely follow me on Twitter. That's where I do all that kind of stuff, every single day at Matt Maran on Twitter. And so you can follow along there. I will probably have some type of other video on Friday to post instead, yeah, just because of my traveling, I'm not able to post one. I apologize, but I will definitely catch up on everything the following week. And you can always go back and watch previous weekly updates that you might have missed as well. Anyway, getting into the news for this week here, though, the first story is the new Corvette C8.R was spied for the first time. And so thanks to spy photographer Brian Williams who grabbed these pictures here, it's our best look yet at what the future mid-engine Corvette is going to look like. Now, this is the racing version, so it's definitely crazier than the street car will be. Just for comparison, here's a C7 and the C7R race car. So that kind of gives you an idea of, how things are changed a bit. Proportions aren't quite exactly the same, but does give us a really strong, those two cars look very, very similar. So with these spy shots, we have a very strong indication of what the production vehicle is going to look like. And, currently all the mid-engine Corvettes we've seen spied running around, the street versions, all have, heavy camo on them still, so you can't really tell the body lines. This really gives away all those body lines. Up front there, lots of large, angles and lines in the hood. Very sleek, slender headlights that, again, may change on the street car since that is one different thing from the race car to street cars, the headlights and stuff. So not, sure if that entire front end will be quite as extreme and sleek like that, but could very well be very close. The main giveaway, though, to me is the sides. You can easily see the body lines on the sides there, and that is, pretty heavily mirrored on the race vehicles in the past, and so I would assume they would be, for the new one as well. So, you have that line that, cuts straight through there, with an aggressive air vent in the side, and so that looks really sweet. The back end is also very sleek looking, and obviously has the aggressive arrow with this huge spoiler and the rear diffuser. That stuff, again, is only on the race car. That will all be toned down or removed completely, for the production one. But just is really, really awesome to see that they are testing, the race version as well. Hopefully we'll see both the race version and the regular Corvette, the new, C8, hopefully early next year. Fingers crossed for Detroit in January. Last January Detroit auto show, we'll have to see. But anyway, very cool to see that. Some other crazy news that isn't really good news is Autocars reporting, just a report, not confirmed, but the Jaguar Land Rover are going to be introducing, redesigned versions of all their models, which is all great. They're going to be on all new platforms, also great. And this will take place between now and 2024. And they also previously committed to the idea of having every model be electrified by 2020. I don't know if that means every new model after 2020 or every single model on sale in 2020 will have electrification, but either way, they're definitely going more electrified with stuff. That just means hybrid. For now, there won't be a full EV, full lineup for a long time to come, hopefully. But anyway. The big news here is they're working on a new inline 6 and a new inline 3 engine, and both of them will have electric turbos, which is cool. But the problem is they're not working on a new V8. So they're working on the 6-cylinder and the 3-cylinder, and that's it. So supposedly, according to Autocar, the plan here is to kill the current V8, but that probably won't happen anytime soon. Jaguar officially said we're committed to offering a range of engines, including the V8. So this probably isn't going to happen super soon, but it shows their direction, that this V8, they're not investing in the V8 anymore. They don't care about it. They're developing new engines and getting rid of the V8, eventually, because they can't keep an ancient motor on the market forever. Maybe another 5 years or so. Who knows? When you look at Jaguar's history, though, especially Jaguar, Land Rover as well, but especially with Jaguar, their sports cars, a lot of the great classic sports cars had inline 6 engines. And so I think this kind of returns back to their roots with using that inline 6, and the turbo, of course, is what keeps it modern. It will be sad to see the V8 go, especially in the F-Type R and SVR. That is a really special engine. sounds so good and will go down in history as one of the all-time greats, I think, honestly, of our current era. And so that's unfortunate, but there will still be high performance versions, of course, of these Jaguar Land Rover vehicles. That's still a key component of Jaguar. They just said the highest performing versions would have a higher performing version of the inline six with the turbo there. So just bump up the boost, higher compression, whatever, and, have lots of power still. But again, wouldn't get too upset because nothing's official yet. This is just a report and nothing has, been announced as far as dates for when this would even happen. But anyway, interesting to hear that. Another cool vehicle that is actually making a return is we have our first glimpse here of the 2020 Honda Passport. Thanks to, again, Brian Williams here for these spy pictures. So as you can see, it is bigger than a CR-V but smaller than the Pilot. Reportedly, it's going to be based on the Pilot platform though, and we'll actually probably still use the Pilot's V6 as well. But I'm thinking there will also be a 4-cylinder turbo option. I think, this is just going to be a 2-row SUV. It's just, going to be a 5-seater. So having a V6 for it as the only option might be a little overkill. I mean, offering a V6 for those that want the additional power sounds great and competes with others in the class. But I think a Turbo 4 would also make sense to offer as maybe a low-cost option. It's going to have, as you can see here, a grille similar to other Hondas, but looks like it's going to have some Acura-inspired headlights and will look different and unique and won't just be a smaller Pilot. And so that's, cool to see. It's going to probably compete primarily with the Chevy Blazer, the new one that's coming, the Ford Edge, Nissan Murano, all that type of stuff. And should debut this fall actually at the LA Auto Show is what everyone seems to be expecting here. So cool to see that. Ferrari has teased a new car that is coming next month called the Icona Ferrari. And so this is probably some type of ultra limited edition, one-off or maybe a very, very limited run to celebrate something. The rumor is that it's going to be based on the A12 Superfast. So at this point in the V12 Ferrari, as far as how model years go for them, my guess is this going to be some type of Targa or convertible version that will be built as, maybe a very, very limited run, like 50 cars or less probably. Similar to what they did with the F12 TRS. That was a one-off, but they did, I think, have some other type of convertible F12 and also the 599 SA Aperta, which was also a little bit more widely made. Again, still, I think less than 100 cars. I can't remember exactly. But anyway, so that's my guess. If they're saying it's going to be based on the A12, possibly that was just a rumor. We'll have to wait and see, but we're going to know officially on September 17th. That's when they're going to be revealing it. So cool to hear that. Another vehicle that's going to be revealed soon. Lamborghini has tweeted a teaser picture here of the Aventador SVJ, which we've already seen, in the camouflage doing the Nürburgring lap time that I, commented on a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, they're going to be bringing this vehicle to Pebble Beach in a couple of weeks, for the Concours event there. And it's interesting, though, because that picture, that teaser image, I'm not sure, based on the camouflage picture, where that teaser image would be. If that's the hood, then the camo is really good at hiding all those angles. Otherwise, I'm not sure where that would be, where you have a Lamborghini badge in so many little angles in such a small little space there. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. All will be revealed soon. Also, Audi revealed some performance numbers here and details on the electric E-Tron crossover. Little by little, we're getting info on this vehicle, even though there hasn't been a full reveal yet. It's still running around in camo for some reason. It's like everyone already knows what it looks like. Like, what are you hiding with camouflage? I really don't get it. But anyway, it's officially rated at 355 horsepower, 414 pound-feet of torque are the official numbers. But it's a little complicated, at least with Audi's version of an electric car, because they say the electric motors can make that power for 60 seconds straight before reducing power. So it's not indefinite, but the thing is, you're going to hit the 124 mile per hour top speed well before 60 seconds, even if you start from zero. So not sure, the limit I think would be fine. I don't think anyone's going to be super upset about that unless you're doing an Autobahn run or something. Also, there's a high power mode when you shift the transmission from drive to sport and floor it. And when you do that, then it'll switch over and give you 402 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, but it'll only do that for 8 seconds. That's the limit, and then it has to cut power again. So 0 to 60 should happen in less than 6 seconds, though, so you should have enough juice to do, a 0 to 60 run, maybe even a 0 to 100 possibly, but then it's going to cut back on that power once again. Still will be very strong, with 414 pound-feet of torque, but just not quite as fast. So, under 6 seconds, 0 to 60 is definitely quick and impressive, but not mind-blowing or anything. The range was was previously announced was 248 miles, at least on the European test cycle. We still don't have a US mileage rating, I don't think. And exact pricing hasn't been revealed either, but Audi previously said it'll be between the Jaguar I-Pace and the Tesla Model X 75D, so that would put it between the $70,000 and $80,000 range for starting pricing on this e-tron here. So anyway, ordering is going to open September 17th, so I'm guessing we'll have a final full reveal on that date or sometime before then, and the cars will start being delivered early next year, they're saying. So anyway, cool to see that. Porsche has revealed the Cayman GT4 Clubsport rally car concept. And so this is not street legal before you get your hopes up, but it is based on the normal Clubsport racing version, which is produced as a non-street legal, thing just for, racers, serious racers. But anyway, this one's equipped with it's got all the rally gear you need for WRC racing. And Porsche is actually going to be bringing it to the Rally Deutschland next weekend to collect feedback on whether they actually should sell these and what the rally community thinks of a Cayman for rally. And so if they do sell a car that's similar for rally racing, though, it is not going to be cheap. So the regular Clubsport, and it's like a stripped interior and everything, for some reason is $165,000. I don't know why you wouldn't just buy a regular Cayman, even a Cayman GT4, and strip it for way less money. But I'm guessing there's extra stuff going on there that I don't understand. But anyway, it would be cool to see a Cayman in rally racing, especially seeing them tear up a dirt course or a snow course. Would be really sweet, I think. We'll have to see if it would be any good at it, but I'm confident it could be pretty sweet. But anyway, interesting to see Porsche dabbling in that. Another vehicle that at least us Americans can't get, ironically, is Volkswagen's new Grand California van that was revealed this week. So it's a bigger, nicer version of the regular California van, which we also don't get here. And so all of them have had a sleeping area, a kitchen complete with 2 gas burners, a sink, a refrigerator with a freezer, and a bunk in the raised roof for kids so they can sleep there. And so that's similar to the regular California van. The main appeal with this new one, it seems, is that there is a bathroom now built into it with a toilet, shower, and sink. And there's even overhead compartments for storage, just like an airplane. The whole thing actually seems like a little bit of like an airplane interior, which is really sweet. Honestly, I don't know how they fit all that stuff into one of these camper vans. It's really an impressive use of space. It's like a tiny home on wheels that you can actually drive around and have a lot more portable. But anyway, I don't know why these aren't offered in the States here, because especially here, there's lots of people that obviously love camping, but the whole independence thing and all that, and it's named after California. Like, why would you not sell it here? I think these would actually do really, really well, especially with the current culture of everyone going out and getting outdoors and stuff. I mean, I'm sure they're not cheap, but still, I think it'd be a big hit actually. But supposedly there's a new camper van coming in the next year or two anyway, and we know that Volkswagen has confirmed the all-electric microbus or whatever is going to the ID Buzz is what they call it currently. That's going to be coming sometime in the mid 2020s, and we'll get that eventually. But in the meantime, why not sell these? I think that would be a great idea. But anyway, interesting to see those for those of you in Europe and elsewhere that get those. Mazda has announced a couple improvements for the 2019 CX-9 this past week. The first big one is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are now standard on all trims except the base Sport model. And the Sport model, for some reason, it's an optional upgrade. I think it might have to do with the screen size. I think for the new models, it's like the 7-inch screen. They won't give you CarPlay, but the 8-inch screen, which you get in the touring and higher models, does have it. So maybe that's it. But I know with other older models that they're retrofitting, it does work on the 7-inch screen. So I don't know. But anyway, moving on, all trims also get a refined and retuned suspension for smoother, quieter, and more natural ride comfort, according to the press release. And it also has better sound suppression with thicker headliners and floor mats as well. And the command controller in the middle there has been slightly revised as well. Touring and higher trims also get a new frameless rearview mirror, which is always a nice touch. Other new additions only on the Grand Touring, going up a trim here, and the Signature trims are that they get a new 7-inch screen and the gauge cluster like the Mazda 6, that just revealed for 2018. They also now get ventilated front seats, power folding mirrors, and a 360 view round view monitor as well for the backup camera and stuff. And so obviously all these improvements don't come free. They're not too expensive though. Pricing increases, they vary by trim. For the sport trim, it's only $150 more than last year's model. But if you go to the signature trim, it's actually a jump of $1,050, even though the Grand Touring trim is only like a $400 upgrade, and it seems like the Grand Touring gets all the same new stuff as the Signature. So not sure why the Signature jumps so much. But anyway, you know, they still start at $32,280 for the base sport model, and they're going to be arriving in dealerships this month. So cool to see that. For some unofficial Mazda news though, fueleconomy.gov has listed the MPG numbers for the new CX-5 Diesel, and it's interesting, you know, so we've been hearing this diesel's coming, and it was kind of leaked out with the EPA stuff in the past, but Mazda still won't say anything official on this diesel, even though it's been testing here for the EPA and stuff. And so the interesting thing though about the numbers that came out on fueleconomy.gov is that the highway numbers are the same as the gas version, even though diesels are usually more efficient. It's kind of strange. 31 MPG for the front-wheel drive version and 30 for the all-wheel drive version. It is a little bit better as far as city ratings go, though, and it's a significant amount. So you get 28 MPG for the front-wheel drive version instead of 25, like you would normally get for the gas front-wheel drive one, and the all-wheel drive one you get 27 instead of 24. So 3 MPG better there for those, which is a good improvement. And also the horsepower numbers haven't been officially revealed yet, but apparently the current thought is that it's going to be having about 170 horsepower, which is actually less than the 187 horsepower of the gas version, if it turns out to be true at 170 there. But the big news with the diesel is way more torque. You get 310 pound-feet of torque instead of the 186. Again, if the rumored numbers are correct. That's, I think, really going to be the advantage, whether it's for towing or for performance. You're definitely going to have a lot more grunt down low off the line, if you go for the diesel. But still seems like it's going to be a tough sell. I think like the Equinox diesel that Chevy sells, that gets like way better highway fuel economy. I think it's like almost 40, like 38 MPG or something. So this one at, 31... I don't know. We'll see how well it goes over, but, given how much of an uphill battle it is with diesels here in the United States, especially, and everywhere in the world recently, as much as I would love to see this do well, I have my doubts, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, interesting to see that. Ford this past week has built the 10 millionth Mustang this week, and had a very cool gathering here to celebrate. The 10 millionth car is special because it was actually specially done. I don't know how they did this, because usually they're all built on the production line and there's not a whole lot you can change, but they were able to make it match the very first Mustang, which means it gets Wimbledon white for its color. It's a Wimbledon white V8 2019 convertible here, and Wimbledon white hasn't actually been offered since the 2018 50 years limited edition one, which was, they only made 1,964 of those. Some were Kona blue, some were Wimbledon white, and that was the option you got there. But it's awesome they brought that color back and made it so close to the original. I love how Ford tries to recreate history, obviously with the bullets, and they always kind of really love kind of reliving their past and highlighting it and honoring it, which I personally really love. So I think this is about the coolest way you could possibly do this, and I'm sure the car is probably going to go straight into the Henry Ford Museum or something like that, because it's a very, very special car. I don't think it's available to buy or anything, but anyway, cool to see that. Some other Mustang news though is they revealed the 2019 NASCAR Mustang, and so this is going to be for the Monster Energy Cup Series, and obviously it's just stickers. It's not an actual Mustang. It's the same frame they use for all the NASCAR cars because of all the regulations, and they just paint or put the stickers on the front to make it look like a Mustang. But interestingly, they chose the GT350 front end to model it after, instead of the new front end on the 2018s and 2019s. So it's got the old headlights and stuff. But it still looks really good, just a little disproportional, a little odd whenever you compare it to the real Mustang. But anyway, it's going to be racing first at next year's Daytona 500, and that'll be cool to see that first appearance. But if we do know, Mustangs have been already racing in NASCAR in the Xfinity Series for a couple of years now, but cool to see it go up to the higher series here as well. So anyway, cool to see that. Other Ford news is they also revealed the 2019 Ford Territory for China only. So this is for the Chinese market. It was actually developed in partnership with a Chinese car maker called JMC. And so they have a brand called Yusheng. And this is basically a Ford version of the Yusheng S330 is what they call it, which is one of their current SUVs. Ford definitely did, give it a lot of different styling as far as the grille. And I think the headlights and stuff are tweaked and all that type. But I mean, honestly, the original vehicle actually looked a lot like a Ford already. So, very little that needed to be changed there to give it, a consistent look to other Fords. But it does have some interesting interior stuff that, again, could just be unique to the Chinese market and also, just because of the basis of this vehicle being from another brand. But it looks like it could possibly be also some next-gen Ford stuff. There's a pretty large touchscreen there in the middle, bigger than any other Ford currently, I think. It looks like it's almost like a 10-inch screen just by, eyeballing it there. But it doesn't have any volume or tune knob, which is worrisome. And it has some nicer trim and stuff. It's a really nice interior there, too. And, it's going to be on sale in China early next year. But again, we're not getting it here in the States just simply because it wasn't developed for our market. So crash test standards, all that type of stuff probably wouldn't be up to snuff. It might, but this stuff usually never makes it over. So we'll probably get something, down the road. And maybe even the Territory name will come over eventually, but probably won't see this actual vehicle ever here in the States. Mercedes was spied testing the GLS, the next-gen version here in Death Valley, actually. And it still has some pretty bulky camo on it there, so, it's going to be a little curvier and a little sleeker than what it looks there. It looks actually a little more aggressive because of all the camo on it. But this is the first time we're seeing the interior, and no surprise here, Mercedes likes to do the copy and paste technique when it comes to design inside and out, and it looks like this interior is very similar to the upcoming GLE that hasn't been officially revealed yet either, but we saw some spy shots of that in the past, where you have the two very large infotainment screens, and one for the gauges, one for the actual infotainment, and then you have a very prominent row of vents there, and everything else is covered up, so hard to make out any other differences. But not expecting anything to be wildly different than any other Mercedes, but that's a good thing. They're all very nice interiors, not to knock them or anything. But anyway, this still looks like it has a little bit of development to go through before it's ready, so it probably won't debut until early next year. And lastly, Bimmerfest and Auto Guide are reporting that BMW has reapplied for the i9 trademark. And so they originally applied for the i9 trademark back in 2010 and never did anything with it. Back then there was a bunch of rumors like, it was going to be, a four-door version of the i8, or it's going to be some type of new flagship or something like that, and nothing ever happened. It sounds like the i9 trademark was set to expire here in the past few weeks. So I think they reapplied for the trademark just so they could keep the rights to the name in case they do ever want to use it. And I'm sure they just want to make sure they keep control of all the i stuff that they reasonably can. And so that's probably the main reason for this, but it also kind of shows that they're not giving up on the idea of an i9. If they abandoned it completely, then maybe they would just let it expire. So, who knows? Maybe something. I'm sure someday in the far distant future, they'll have i1 through i9 and, fill it all out since they want to do all electric stuff eventually anyway. So we'll have to wait and see if anything ever, materializes with this name, but cool to see that. Anyway, we do know that the i4, I think, is coming next as far as the i lineup from BMW. But yes, that's it for all the news this week, guys. Let me know your thoughts on everything. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care.